Okay, welcome everybody to the actually the last colloquium of this year, 2008. But it's my pleasure to introduce to you Professor Dede from the Harvard School of Graduate School of Education, and Rebecca Mitchell, who is a doctoral student of Chris's. It's a real pleasure to have both of them here. I go up and visit Chris most years to help with the course that he teaches there, teach one class, and last time James came with me and we have a lot of fun up there. He has a great department, very interesting program. In fact, the program has helped us in defining our PhD program here. Some of the more innovative approaches, the interdisciplinary approaches that you've been doing up there has helped us in designing our program here, which for those of you who don't know is going through the system and hopefully will be approved to start next fall, 2009. So it's great that we have both of you here talking about some really cool stuff, mathematics teachers' adaptations of highly novel curriculum-based augmented reality technology. I know a little bit about what this talk is about, and I think you'll all find it really interesting. So in these sessions, it's about an hour and a half, and we, how would you want to split up the time today? Talk and then questions, or interactive?
Talk and then questions, but interrupting the talk is needed.
Yes. And we have maybe some little hiccups in transferring computers, so please bear with us as we might have to swap over computers to show some video. Okay?
Great,
well,
thank you. Well, thanks so much for inviting me. I've been wanting to come down to the center, and my schedule is kind of grim, so I wasn't able to coordinate for some of your major events, and it's terrific to have the chance to be here. I was very happy to invite Rebecca to come with me, not only because her work is terrific, but because I don't know enough math education to give a good talk. And in fact, when Rebecca emailed me a couple days ago to say that her 3-year-old had the stomach flu, my heart sank, because I thought if Rebecca gets the stomach flu, I'm going to have to dance for an hour, and I don't know that I can do that. So I'm the lead-in act. I'm like the Eagles, you know, warming up the audience, and then Rebecca is the main show here. But I want to contextualize the work that she's going to be talking about. So I'm going to provide a context, and then she's going to talk about one specific piece of research that we're doing as part of this larger context, the piece that relates most closely to what you're doing here at the center. That's interesting. Dialing in.
That's your backup talk.
Yeah. I thought that it might be Arnie Duncan, you know, calling to offer me some big Washington position, but no such luck. So I actually have an article coming out in Science, January 2nd, that talks about immersive interfaces. I've been doing work with different kinds of immersive interfaces for the past 15 years. And there are 3 different flavors of immersion that I've been studying. The Alice in Wonderland interface, where you go through the monitor and become an avatar inside of a virtual world, is the interface that most people are familiar with now. It underlies Second Life, it underlies World of Warcraft, America's Army. We do work in that, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. The full virtual reality interface is head-mounted displays and computerized clothing and different kinds of elaborate ways of putting somebody inside of a full sensory environment. Caves, which are rooms with active graphical surfaces. I did that work in the 1990s. When I moved to Harvard, the university wouldn't let me take the equipment, so it rotted down there. That was the end of my work here. Things like the Wii open up interesting possibilities of now doing that cheaper. So what we are going to talk about is an equally novel kind of immersion that involves mixing the real world and the virtual world. So you're standing in the real world, but you have with you a mobile wireless device of some kind that lets you bring the virtual world into the real world. And the work that we're doing in this project is not on cell phones. Cell phones are not quite ready. But within 2 years, we anticipate that augmented reality will live on cell phones, the next generation iPhone, G phone. And so we're trying to lead the technology to understand the strengths and limits of what we can do with it. And this is really exciting because these devices offer a lot of power at a fraction of the cost of laptops. And we know that a lot of powerful things happen with one-to-one ratios of people to devices. So, I don't know where the slide went here. It's interesting. No more slides. All right, you see what you can do with that. So let me show you something that relates to the project. And we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the project as a whole, because what we really want to show you is instead Rebecca's work within the project. So this is part of an introductory video. I'll tell you the part you're not seeing. This is work funded by the U.S. Department of Education. Not surprisingly, their goal is to raise test scores. That's what they think the project is about. So they're interested in doing things in middle schools to raise scores in English language arts and mathematics on the high-stakes tests. Rebecca's been the primary designer of the mathematics curriculum, and she's also studied teachers' reactions to it as part of her dissertation. I just want to show you what this looks like on the ground in terms of working with students, and this is the current director of the project talking.
The handheld augmented reality project's main purpose is to study the impact of augmented reality on the math and language arts academic outcomes of middle school students. In our implementations of augmented reality, students work in groups using GPS-enabled handheld computers to explore the physical environment, interview digital characters, collect digital items, and solve mathematics and literacy problems. All of this is done in order to solve a central mystery that is the focus of the augmented reality curriculum. In the following clip, you will see students beginning to explore the area outside their school. What the students see on their handhelds will be represented in the corners of the screen.
Look, I've got to be honest with you. All this hype about aliens trying to harm us is just that, hype. If the aliens wanted to do something to us, they would have done it by now. Besides, uranium isn't deadly to humans as long as we're careful with it.
In order to study the efficacy of this practice.
All right, so that gives you a little bit of a feel for what this looks like. Students are told that an alien spacecraft has crashed outside of their school. They go outside the school, they've got these little handheld devices, they walk around, virtual people pop up, they find digital artifacts of different kinds, and the story, the backstory, as always with middle school students, relates to entertainment. So this is E.T., this is War of the Worlds, this is all of the things that we get from the entertainment industry, and in those, it's always the kids who figure things out, right? The adults are really dumb, and the kids are the ones who figure out the aliens. And so we're building on that for engagement in this curriculum. The U.S. Department of Education is interested in higher test scores. We don't have a problem with higher test scores. We're interested in 21st century skills. We are interested in the kinds of reasoning that underlie a team that's working on something like global warming. Suppose you're a mathematician, and you're part of a team that's working on global climate change, and you're dealing with the very complex, chaotic mathematics of atmospheric disturbance. So you're part of the team, but nobody else is a mathematician. They're all coming out of different disciplines. There's a Tower of Babel issue in terms of people speaking different languages, but learning to sell their points of view